Wow, thank you, Shauna. That was wonderful. Something is coming. Things are changing so rapidly that we are always on the precipice of something new. And I feel that due date. It's right around the corner, as the song says. I want to give a shout out before we go any further to Cinestack and my friend Will at Cinestack. I am alone here in the sanctuary. Not a soul here with me. But Will is in San Diego, and he's talking to me on the side when I need him, and he's operating all 3 cameras for us right now. So creativity is continuing to unfold is how we bring you the Sunday service. And what I am imagining right now is all of you in each and every one of these seats. The place full, the energy palpable, and how we're really going to have a good time. This is the time of new awakenings, right? It is spring. You can see it in all the plants and the flowers and everything coming back to life. And yet we are experiencing not quite the same physical reality at this moment. So how do we deal with that? What's going on within us? What's going on in our consciousness, in our very beings? What's running your life right now? What are you creating? More importantly, what are you expecting? What are the thoughts that are constantly running in your head? Are you experiencing fear, dread, worry, concern, anxiety? Or are you experiencing peace and creativity? You know, there are moments, I certainly have experienced them in the middle of each day during this time of shelter in place, where I want it all to go back to normal. And then I think about what normal was, and I'm like, well, maybe not quite normal is what I want to go back to, but I feel this anxiety to get things moving, And I want to talk to us today about how to harness that energy, how to harness that creative impulse, that desire for something to create our good. So to do that, one of the things that I always teach is that you have to choose your thoughts carefully, because your thoughts are powerful. Your thoughts are the actual engine that can create your reality. Now, if you're thinking, like I do sometimes, well, I'm not in charge of this. This all just showed up here, and I have no choice in this matter. I would argue that your playing victim here doesn't serve you. And you're playing victim to the circumstances, and when I play victim, I know I am not being who I really need to be for my family, for my community. Our teaching is that you are powerful beyond measure, that you are created in the image and the likeness of the divine, and your playing small doesn't serve you and doesn't serve anyone else. Can you feel into that statement? You are powerful beyond measure. So if you are, and I think you are, and I know you are, your fear is creating, your expectations are creating the results you will get. So what are we going to experience coming out of this time of sheltering in place and social distancing? Is our fear creating the next step, or are we consciously and purposefully creating the world that we wish to see, the desires of our heart, the longing of our soul? There's a quote from Joe Dispenza, and it goes, "Your personality creates your personal reality." Your personality creates your personal reality. And I love the quote because it's so true. Personality is something we put on. The word comes from persona, which means mask. And so when we put on this mask of fear, that's what we're going to experience, the tragedy. But when we can put on the mask of happiness and joy, the personality of gratitude, then we experience the comedy, the life filled with laughter and joy. It may seem simplistic, but personality, as Joe Dispenza defines it, is literally how you think, act, and feel. Now, while your personality may not be your true nature, it is certainly a vehicle that we use in this human experience to create and to maneuver through our lives. Personality is an expression of creativity. And we get to change it. We can choose to shift it and to create something different. A couple weeks ago, I told you a story when we were doing a talk on gratitude. And it's a story I found in a Buddhist book, and I loved it. It's called A Truckload of Dung. And I wanted to share it with you again today because I think it's even more poignant today. So these people had spent the day at the beach. They were having such a good time. And when they arrived at home, they found this truckload of dung dumped on their front door. And it was obviously from the local zoo because it was filled with all kinds of animal dung, and it was horrendous in stench. Horrendous. And they were like, what is this? What's going on? I didn't order any fertilizer. And so they got on the phone immediately and started calling people, and no one knew where it came from. None of their neighbors saw who dropped it off. It just arrived. And so they called the government officials, and the government officials said, hey, we're not responsible. We're not going to take that on. We're not going to do anything about that. Sound familiar? And they found out that they just were stuck with this truckload of dung dumped on their front step. And so they kept trying to work their way around it. They even, tried, let's scoop up a little of it. We can put it in this pot. We'll take it a little bit at a time. And they'd go out and they'd go with it somewhere, and they thought, I'll drop it down the street. And then they noticed how all their friends started avoiding them, wouldn't actually make contact with them because they stank. And they kept bringing the stink with them wherever they went, trying to get rid of it that way. And so one day they realized this isn't working. And they picked up a shovel and they started to do the work necessary to make the changes they needed to make. And one shovel load at a time, they took the dung away from their front step and moved it into their backyard. And then as they got stronger and more determined and set their intention really clearly, they filled up wheelbarrows full of dung and moved it to the backyard. Little by little, they changed their reality. They changed what they were doing. And they even enlisted some friends to help them. And then a while later, it wasn't quick, didn't happen overnight, they noticed how all the dung from the front of the house was gone. And that spring, in the backyard, this is what happened. Everything was in bloom. The lawn, the flowers, the trees. It was turned into a magical place because of the effort and because of the tragedy, because of the thing dumped right on them. So much so that even the fruit trees in their garden were so overrun with fruit that they couldn't eat all of the fruit that they had. The abundance was incredible. And they had to give out fruit to their neighbors and to people who were passing by on the street because they had more than enough and couldn't even store it all. They couldn't contain all that situation had brought them. So I don't have to tell you, I think that's where we are. We're sitting with a truckload of dung, and here we are trying to figure out how to get through it or how to get back to normal. When normal's not where we want to go. We want to go to magnificent. We want to go to splendid. We want to go to powerful. You know, you are powerful beyond measure. You are a magnificent expression of the divine. You are holy, whole, and complete, no matter what is going on, no matter what the outside circumstance. But when we let the outside circumstance dictate how we feel, our emotional state, then that's what we create. Because not only thoughts are powerful, thoughts combined with an emotional realm are truly powerful. So when we can take time to feel in to who we really are and to feel in to the place we want to go, the bliss we want to experience in this new life, when we can step into that realm, the actual things start to be drawn to us. Because the good you're seeking, your heart's desire, already exists. You're not making it up out of nothing. The good you want, the vision you see for your life and for the world, exists in the quantum field. And when you can align energetically with it, with a feeling, your feeling nature, your thinking nature, and your actions in the world, then those things will come from seeming nowhere and land right at your doorstep. So, to really be abundant, to really be powerful, to really be blissful and peaceful, you have to feel into it. You have to let it take over your body. And sometimes you have to let go of who you think you are. You have to let go of the sayings like, this is who I've always been. I've always been this way. I'm blah, blah, blah years old. I'm never going to change now. Well, there's a great affirmation for you. I'm never going to change now. Everybody together. No, let's not. Let's take this moment to understand that for success to show up in our life, you must feel empowered. So how do we feel empowered in this moment? What can we do in this moment to actually empower ourselves? Volunteer, call someone out, call someone up, call someone and say, what can I do to help you? How can I be with you? Even if it's on Zoom or on the phone. You know, the old movie, Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. He's condemned to live the same life day after day after day after day. And do you know how he gets out of it? He stops focusing on himself and starts focusing on other people. And all of a sudden, he's not living the same day over and over again. If you feel stuck, when I feel stuck, I'm remembering that from now on. That's the way out. For abundance to show up on your door, well, there was an abundance of dung in the story I told, but for a different kind of abundance to show up on your door, you must feel worthy. You must feel deserving. You must remember who you are, the magnificent child of God, the magnificent expression of the divine, the magnificent father, mother, son, daughter, friend, that you really are. And to create the life you want, you have to feel grateful. You have to feel gratitude for each moment, because only when you can feel past your circumstance, have a heightened emotion beyond the circumstance you're living in? Will you be able to transcend where you are and lift everything up to its highest? Where we're sitting right now, wherever you are and wherever I am, in consciousness and in physical space, we have everything we need. Everything we need to transform this situation and to lift up our lives as we create a future that works for everyone. No exceptions, no exclusions. A seed doesn't look like much. A seed doesn't look like it can do anything. But a single seed planted in the ground or stuck between cracks of a rock can split a boulder apart, can change the soil underneath it, can grow into a mighty oak tree that actually then builds buildings. So today, I'm going to invite Misa in to celebrate with a song that I love called Sitting on a Gold Mine. It's a tune that reminds me I have it right here and right now. Misa?